What's good, party people? This is your friendly neighbor, Chad the Maverick, back again with another video. And I've been gone for a little, astrology wise, because I just recently put out an album. PARADISO, Kid Orpheus is the producer alias. I'm gonna link it down in the description. If you haven't heard it yet, please listen to it because there's a lot of keys in it. I guess it's weird because it's like the supplementary thing to what I do here when I speak my astro, but you can actually feel what I'm trying to get at in comparison to hear me talk about it, which is why I love producing music to begin with. But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother time. Right now, we are literally in eclipse season. I I didn't do much during the eclipse season. I just moved to a new location for a summer position. Um, so right now I'm in the city, hooray, which is awesome. I love being in the city. But with that being said, there's been this new. I know for me, there's been a huge change with the eclipse because I'm in a new space and a new job. Um, I'm literally like I'm in the optimal type of position as far as getting things together for the future. And I just feel like this is something that has happened in a lot of variations and different capacities to everyone. There's been a lot of big news recently. There's been a lot of new opportunities. There's been a lot of older manifestations that have finally come through into fruition during this time frame. And I'm not the biggest fan of the word manifestation at this point, but that's just the best way to put it because that was something that was pushed forward and made to be. So what I want to go through right now is how this eclipse is affecting everyone. And I realized something just today with this, and I'm breaking this type of video into three different parts because the first part of this is essentially the Uranus and Taurus sextile with this Cancer season and this new moon eclipse, right? So all of that right now is breaking in to this Uranus and Taurus aspect, which is what this video will be about. This is the exact Taurus aspect. When it hits let's say July 8th is when this goes into the eclipse season second phase, which is going to be when Neptune trines Cancer season as well as this conjunction to the North Node, which is mad important. And then it ends off from July 12th to July 19th when it comes to its opposition with Saturn and Pluto. But I'm just want to break this down right now because the next parts I'm just going to be like rolling through. So this is the first part. This is essential, and this is starting from when the actual eclipse happened till July 8th to July 9th time frame. So thank y'all for showing up. Hit the like button if you haven't. Comment, subscribe if you haven't. If you haven't subscribed by now, I don't know how you're even on this channel because this is a very subscription-based channel thus far. But what's up? Welcome to it. I hope everyone gets something out of this because you will. And I'm going to stop talking. But it's Mars and Leo, so I can talk. What's up, y'all? Woo! Let me stop. So, if you do what you truly love, you start to eventually push out this new energy, this new dynamic power that you always inherently have. Everyone has the potential to do something great, period. Regardless of who you are, regardless of your background, there's always a potential to do something great. And the thing is, these great characters over time have already happened as time continuously recycles itself, as time continuously pushes forward, which is why the history is so important for us to understand the present, because these things genuinely repeat when it comes to specific transits, when it comes to specific events. Technology may advance and innovate, however, the same type of conflicts are still happening in different variations in different ways. So what I want to go to right now is that all these archetypes that have already previously existed are all embedded within the human DNA, which is why when people grow up, they grow up to be certain things and they grow up to be certain ways. These things all start off from the DNA. Legends and warriors of myth are pretty much the type of energy right now. The eclipse, right? The eclipse is like this. Oh, it's the eclipse, it's the eclipse, but the eclipse is bringing out the inner legends within people, the inner myths that these people carry, because everyone on this planet born underneath a certain star system are all tied in with a specific myth, depending on a specific myth, a story, or parable, depending on their placements in their chart. But um, that's another thing I researched. But besides that point, we are starting to fall into our characters throughout these archetypes because of this eclipse that just happened. It was super heavy energy. A lot of people got sick. A lot of people started feeling a type of way. A lot of people were like, oh, my stomach hurts. Oh, this, that, and the third. It's because this eclipse really brought in this idea and this notion that home isn't where the location is. Home is legitimately within you. This new moon in Cancer was showing that home moves with you now with this Uranus and Taurus, because the Uranus and Taurus is the hearth aspect, it's the stability axis. And now with Uranus and Taurus combining with this Cancer season, you're starting to understand that there's this primal urge to act on the things that creates your individual freedom. And individual freedom itself is technically a myth. But the reason why I say it's a myth is because there's an individual freedom. However, the way that the universe works is that we're all pieces of it. So we're all kind of conjoined and connected together. But we have this sense of individuality. But having too much individuality, so to speak, can lead you astray from being connected to the collective itself. Just something to keep in mind. So, outside of that, right? There's the primordial urge to act is coming up. It's really, but it's to act on what you truly feel on what you truly feel. That's the word. It's the word of the week. The rest of the month is the word is feel. Period. Whatever. But the thing about it is that conquerors, a lot of times, because I'm just a history buff nerd person in astrology and such, but a lot of conquerors from back in the Greco-Roman period, a lot of the emperors were all pretty much born in Cancer season. They all had Cancer placements within their chart if they were conquerors for um, worlds, or if they ended up discovering a new place for the most part. But the reason why this is because cancers ruled the sea, and most of wars and most conquering that's happened throughout history all had a something to do with the sea and the naval aspect to it, and that's why a lot of them were able to conquer these things. And this season, this eclipse season, is kind of bringing out your inner conqueror, so you can conquer the world and conquer your portion and segment of it. Um, but not in a negative way. This is a metaphor, because in the actual conquering of it, it was a lot of violence that was actually involved. The thing is that violence increases because we're so desensitized to the idea of it, and we find it so addicting to watch, to consume, and to even speak upon. A lot of people have gotten closer due to just the idea of being through certain specific violent or negative situations that help shape them into who they are. Which on one hand is cool because it's like, oh, you get to connect with people. On the other hand, it's like, why are these violent and heinous things still happening to people in order for them to have to relate to someone else with? But that's just some food for thought. Back to the actual eclipse. Hope you're enjoying the show, folks. Yeah. But listen to Paradiso, link in the bio. But The thing is, when it comes to this, right, is that we have this certain hunger to fulfill our creativity. So this hunger oftentimes can turn into a violent thing if it's not recognized correctly. Because a lot of times when people are violent, it's because there's a sense that they may have lacked prior to lead them into having to forcefully assert their masculine principle to harm something outside of them. And it's kind of wild to think about, but this is how the world has been forever. World has pretty much been about, there's been so many wars about just not having the individual freedom and the threat of losing that. One thing that this war type time is reminding us is that is a spiritual war, but the spiritual war is all the time. It doesn't actually end for real. And the biggest trigger for the spiritual war is them making you forget how to actually like breathe. Because breathing is so important as to letting everything else in your body work, as far as even your DNA itself reacts and responds to when you actually respirate like the full like your body responds so different. Even in that one breath that I just showed, like I feel a difference from just prior. But regardless of that, I am rambling. But you need to understand that everything I'm saying right now has to do with this solar eclipse that just happened. All of these things are intertwined. But breathing changes the attitude, and our true hunger is just looking for something to be creative for. So the thing about this is that this time frame, this energy that's coming through is trying to take this energy that we have towards this violence, towards pushing other people's buttons, towards trying to implement and force ourselves onto others' ideas or opinions, and taking that same energy and building in this type of, it's like this, it's the same source of this childlike energy that we come into the world with. You never see like a little kid who's under the age of 7 just have a not know how to stop. I was watching a family member of mine, little cousin, and she is an Aquarius with Neptune on her sun. But regardless, she's just like, I feel like she's the a quintessential kid of this generation. She's 7, like younger, right? But with that being said, it's like she has this the energy doesn't stop. It just keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going. We need to start tapping into this childlike energy with our own, what we've built on, what we've discovered prior to this eclipse, what we've discovered in this past couple of days, because we're reaching this point where our natural intelligence is going to be shown. Our natural intelligence as a being is going to start to become apparent to everyone, to ourselves first and foremost, which is why it's really important to end this general idea of trying to hurt other people's feelings. I think that's one thing that's really coming through. It's like you trying to hurt other people's feelings is like the same type of offense as littering on the ground. It's like, why are you going to put this debris, this junk, this negative notions, these negative ideas, these negative seeds that we can just push out? Why are you going to push those out onto others when instead you can take that same type of energy, get really excited about something that you love, and then go ahead and do it? These energies are all these they stem from the same thing. All of them stem from the same place. Every dark thing, every light thing, all of them are really in the middle. And this middle ground is where we start to find and to start to see how we can take these energies and how we could take this new expansion, how we could take this Uranus and Taurus aspect and really build in stability and really put in that lust for life into the things that we actually love to do, right? Like, I love making these type of videos, because I get to really like kick astrology stuff. And anyone that's watched this, I appreciate you so much. Like, I really, because this to me is just like trying to convey what's going on with a lot of people. And it's funny because there's been a lot of confirmation, and even people coming to saying, hey, this happened this week. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. So I really take these like this, but this is what I love to do. Like, I don't lose energy from doing stuff that I love to do at all. Like, I'm happy about it. And that's what I'm saying. And this time has already started. So you're starting to actually see, I guess, me try to implement this halfway, because this has already started like when the eclipse first happened. But I'm gonna digress and go back into the real stuff so I don't make this video entirely too long. But consciousness itself, this is the highest facet of this energy at this point. What I'm about to speak on is the highest facet of this general energy of like this dynamic feeling, right? When consciousness merges with the totality, it gives an individual their freedom. Because freedom itself isn't necessarily being away from bondage, giving up the idea of individual freedom creates liberation for you. When you start to be liberated from your own notions, when you start to be liberated from your own thoughts, and when you start to move into your heart, and when you start to feel, bringing it back to feeling, Cancer season, this Cancer season eclipse, this feeling, this new home. This new home is your new emperor, your new empire. And your new empire isn't meant to hurt other empires. Your empire is supposed to build on itself, because the empire has enough resources for it to build on itself. When you build on itself, you can start to incorporate other people that have their own, and then you can bring more things into your empire. So if you need a grocery store in your empire, you may come across someone who does farmers markets. You may come across someone who does this. If you want to bring in some fashion into your empire, you can speak to someone who may be in a hair salon, or you may speak to a barber. You may start to speak to people that actually have influence in clothes. This is what this Cancer season is starting to teach us, because this new home lives in us. This new home that this eclipse is trying to show us is that it does reside inside of people. This new home is within. This new home is your feeling. This new home is your moon sign. Your moon, your inside, your internal. Like, this is you. This is what you are bringing. And your home can move with you. And that's my Sagittarian principle on it. But moon in Sagittarius, ironic. But for example, that's me. Home is within you, right? You need to find your form of home. Your home is within you and within the ties that you have. So my legitimate phone ran out of storage, surprisingly. So first of all, universe telling me to shut up. Second of all, retrograde is also coming, which I'll bring up. But anywho, the last thing I wanted to say on this is just pretty much this Uranus and Taurus is showing us that we're supposed to bring our higher facets and kind of be reborn in the idea that we're more than what we know. I think that's it. That's where I want to end it. That's it. Or it's Eclipse Part 1. Anything that you need to know, down in the description. I'm still running my readings. They're still on sale. They will stop being on sale at some point. So check those out. Outside of that, I hope you enjoyed this part 1 of the Eclipse series. I totally lost my train of thought from prior, but I wanted to end it off the actual. So, peace out, y'all.